turn on your camera.
Yeah, I'm just turning it. I have turned on. Yes, it's visible.
Yeah, let's start with your introduction.
Sir, I will tell the intro tomorrow. I have to prepare. I am revising other part.
See, whatever you know, like general, you can tell. Okay, so what are the things you know? What are the tools you know? Just include that and what you implemented in that tool. You just
Okay.
go through at least basic.
Basic. Okay. Hi, I'm Rohit. I have I have a DevOps experience of 3.5 years. 3.5 years in DXC technology, and the tools I have been worked on are the version control system is Git, and for continuous integration we are using the Jenkins. Then AWS as a cloud. Then Kubernetes as Kubernetes Helm charts for deployment for the application, and then Docker for the image builder. Yeah, these are the tools that we use for in our project for as a day-to-day use. I have to integrate. Sir, I am done. I have to integrate SonarQube and others. So just give me few more time. Hello.
Yeah. Good.
I'm audible. Hello.
Yes, Rohit.
Sir, I am done. I have to include the SonarQube under this, but just give me time till tomorrow. I will get prepared. I am just building it.
Okay. Yeah, Amrita, you can go ahead.
Yeah. So myself, I'm working as a DevOps engineer from past 5 years. So I have integrated the like a Jenkins automation tool. So with GitLab and infrastructure tool as a to create resources in AWS, so we use infrastructure tool as a Terraform. So I do created resources like a VPC, EC2 instances, and I do have a hands-on on VPC IAM roles, VPC. And S3 object creation using Terraform code. So we do monitor with Terraform code itself. So from the Git pipeline, so we do integrated with like a Jenkins. So we do create monitor like a branching strategy with that. So once the repository will be added with a new commit ID, so it will automatically trigger. It will build a test and deploy our application to the Kubernetes. We do use Docker as a containerizing application, and I do worked on 4 to 5 microservices using Kubernetes deployment.
Okay.
And yeah.
So don't include any microservices, okay? Because you don't tell like 3 or 4. Like we can maintain around almost 6 to 7 microservices, okay?
Okay. And finally, to get post build, so we do monitor the tools like Prometheus, Grafana to monitor and logs and trace out the issues. And also we maintain like a mail triggerance, and whenever the coming to day to activities will be Jira will be created and assigned to me to create to work on that. So we'll be creating a pipeline, and we work on creating a Docker files, and like a Terraform code will be automated script will be kept in the Git. So will be like in our team members, anyone can access. We do maintain one structure like so using Terraform or any Docker files. So we do maintain variable files or output files, or depends on the requirement. So we do create so that everyone can access the and they create their own resources. So like that we have implemented. Yeah.
Okay, you said like you worked on Docker, right? Okay, tell me what are the issues you have faced while working on Docker?
Docker, so it will not be like when we are pushing to the Docker host, like so we are not using a correct version. So we used to get first the command, like whatever the host image you are using, that will not found we will be getting. And so usually we prefer for multi-build stages. So to avoid and unnecessary files to be at the final image, so we do integrated with a multi-base stage. And
Mhm.
For this, I have a point to add. So for multi-stage, so when we are using the Docker image with the image build,
mm,
it was consuming a lot of storage. So that when we came up with the multi-stage Docker file, so that there will be different images for
Okay.
build and the actual image itself, the build
Okay.
image
So
itself.
the large image size you have
Ah,
faced large image size. So
yes.
images become very large. So in this case, like you are going to use multi-stage build. Next.
multi-stage.
Mm,
And for two, like we are usually Docker will be using default as a root user, so it is easily to hack. It will be a threat detection will happen. So for that, we will be usually prefer non-root user. And for vulnerability check, we do use like a Docker Scout or Privy we are using actually. And
Okay, that is for vulnerabilities you have used. Okay, scanned your images with Trivy. Next, the two things is correct. One is large image
image size.
size, and second one is security vulnerability. Like the base image has vulnerable, so we use Trivy to scan the vulnerabilities in your Docker image. Next,
So
at
we
least
can
you can
avoid storing
tell like
secrets
5 points.
in images.
Which one?
So we can avoid storing secrets in the images. So we don't need
Okay,
to.
don't hard code. Okay,
Yeah.
so on this time, like we will keep it in an environment variable. So
Environment.
okay, apart from
But
this,
these are security threats, right? Can we include the with this the issues that we
yeah.
face
See,
with
what
Docker?
are the issues? Like, yeah, security context is also one of the issue, right? So while you are
Uh,
working in Docker, so what are the things like while writing any Docker file? So what issues you have faced? Okay,
okay.
so these things you can include. Okay, so I will
Can we
tell you
include
like.
Kubernetes too? This point that when the Docker image got failed, there was no traffic handled by it, so we went to
Yeah, see,
Kubernetes.
that is an advantage. I mean,
Huh.
this is like you are telling the disadvantages of Docker. My question is, so you are working in a Docker, you have an experience. I'm asking you only on the issues. So
Okay.
how you are going to handle these issues while you are working in a Docker?
Okay.
So for this, you can tell them with large size. One is correct. Second one is vulnerability scan is correct.
Mhm.
yeah,
Then third
we
one
do.
is
Docker
like
Compose. What about it? We can do that, right? So if we build images individually, we there was a lot of issues to manage it manually, each and every Docker image individually. So we came up with the Docker Compose so that we can handle all the images, the whole application stack in a single
okay,
command.
that is also one point. Okay,
Uh,
next.
We use Docker in the CI/CD pipeline as an agent.
That is okay. That is not an issue, right, sir? So your compatibility you are going to use to reduce your cost. Okay, so I will tell you some 5 points. Okay, so
okay.
first point is last image size. Second point is like in networking. Like suppose containers is running in a different network, so couldn't communicate. So the solution what I did, like I created a bridge network or user-defined bridge network and attached both containers to it. So the communication between the two containers will be easy. Okay. So next, I faced some volume and data persistent problem. Like
Ah,
data
We
got
can.
may last. So when the container was removed, so on that time I used bind mouse to persist the data.
yeah.
See, these are the concept. Whatever the concept is there, so you need to include. Okay. So like if you run application run as a container causing a permissions issue when writing to mount volume. So I use user directory in a Docker file to run apps as a non-root user for as a security context. Next, the port conflict, like multiple container trying to use the same host port. So that will be the issue. So like, on that time, I use different host ports as or reverse proxy or like Nginx. So in this case, it will be resolved. Okay. And third point is like what you said, vulnerability in the base image. So we will regularly scan with a Trivy. So these things you can include. So also you can include like when I'm working. So some initially I return a Docker file. So without mentioning the CPU and the memory limit, it consumes the host resources. So at that time, I come to a solution like we need to use soft and hard limit. So can specify if it is go with the hard limit. So it will, if the container reaches to 500 MB, the container will stop. If I go with the soft limit, so I can limit within a range from 200 MB to 500 MB. So in this case, we can restrict the resource.
Okay.
And this distroless images we will not use in the production.
Dangling.
Distroless, no, that will be preventing distroless images.
A distroless image. Need to
It's like
check.
very lightweight.
I'm not aware this distroless
No,
image.
like
in
Alpine.
a production, actually, we don't use. We use the base image only, like the which is authenticated with or like certified image. So we use that only. Distroless in the production, we don't use.
That's why I already told you, right? Right. So we only create a base image. So from the company, if I am going to use a base image, so someone developers will write a Docker image. They will download the Ubuntu as a Linux machine. On that, they will install some packages. There is a ready-made base image will be available. They will kept in your ECR or ACR, any repository they will put it. So when you are going to build a new application, so you will pull that base image. On top of it, you are going to develop build your Docker image. Understood? So we are now, so now you don't have any trusted base source, like that's why you are using Docker Hub images. Someone has created, you are pulling that image, right? In the companies, they will write their own Docker image. They will keep it in your private repository. You are going to pull those images. On top of it, your application will run. Okay. So anyway, we are not going to use public repository images.
Okay.
Understood? Okay. Yeah, Rohit. Okay, so
Yes, sir.
everyone turn on your cameras. So I may ask anyone like, so these are the questions like I will not ask you the direct question, like, so scenario based, like how we are going to fix this issue. Those questions I can ask.
Okay.
Think like it's the same as an interview. Don't answer with very one word answers or like that. At least you should answer. If I ask you any solutions, you need to be answer at least for five points.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay. So when you have faced crash loop back of error, so how you will resolve it?
So
The first
first
point
we'll
is
check the issue from where we have to describe the pod. So we have to get the details of why it is creating crashed. So the issues may be like a correct command we have not entered, like any syntax mismatch or for pulling images, and maybe the liveness probe is not ready to receive the signals or traffic, and the image and the command whatever we entered, maybe it is not mismatched.
we have to check the Docker logs, the Kubernetes logs of the particular pod, and then we have to go for the configuration information of the manifest file. So if we have mentioned any issue, if there are any issues with the manifest file, or if there is any conflict, then we have to resolve it.
Okay. So first tell me what you mean by crash loop back of error.
Okay. So if and yeah.
Okay. So one by one, I will call out your names. So then you can answer. Okay. Okay. Go with Nagarati. Yeah. Tell me what you mean by crash loop back of error. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, basically we can get crash loop error whenever like our image has to be keep on restarting and again it will be crashing. It loop, we can say it will be restarted and again it can be crashed. So it will be loop, it will be happening and again. So it can reach some limit. After that, it can throw the crash loop back error.
Next, you said that definition. So how we are going to resolve? First thing, what you will check?
Yeah, I do check first status. If I come to know it is crash loop back error, I go for a describe kubectl describe followed by the pod name. So here in describe I will check the events. So what exactly the reason it will be get crash loop back like crash loop back error. So it basically resource restraints like our CPU or memory, like OMM out of memory, or if when like misconfigurations, and even like there will be scheduling issues will be there. Even node scheduling issues will be there. So these are the some of the reasons. So based on the reasons, I do resolve it. Even I do check kubectl logs. So in that, like based on the if I say like if it is CPU issue, I do increase the like CPU and memory sizes. If it is a pod issue, like in node scheduler issue, so I to create nodes, make sure my pod has to be deployed into the nodes. So yeah, these are our things I do follow.
Okay. Okay, Rohit, now tell me, so what are the actions you will take?
The
Or why the crash loop backup error is coming?
the first thing that I have to check is the logs of the particular pod that has been deployed. So I use kubectl pod logs
So
the and
don't
the
go
pod
with the part, first you need to describe, because we have multiple parts, right? So so maybe the request is going for third part. So
Okay.
we can't, suppose if my pod is running 5 replica set, so I can't keep on searching in the pods.
What I meant
Because
to say is, if we go for the logs will directly say what
first
kind
you
of
need to
issue.
describe, right? If you describe the deployment, every event in the deployment.
Yeah.
Logs in the sense, if the request, if you configured some any path, okay, in the health checks, when you hit the user hits, so that request will be go, then it is not able to process. You configure readiness probe, then you will get the logs like 404, 405,
Okay.
those errors. Before going to logs, you need to check the describe.
Okay.
Okay.
So after describe, then if there
After
is
describe, you will get an event like OMM killed, readiness probe, pull image pull off error, anything. You configure the maybe image is there, but the secret is not there. Okay.
okay.
And you have defined environment variable is a different. Okay. The name of the environment variable is different on what you created. So in this time also, it will get a crash loop backup error.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Same Sagar. Suppose my crash loop backup error occurred due to OMM kit. So how we are going to troubleshoot, or how we are going to take an action?
It's OOM, right? Oh, not OMM.
No, I am asking. Yeah, OM out of memory because of memory issue. So what all actions you will take?
So crash loop process backup also can it can occur the OMD kill. So that is nothing but like, see, I faced this issue in my project. So while I deploying the Rails application with the Postgres, so on that time, like when the application pods were going into the crash loop backup with the OMD kill, mean it may also the reason. So the root cause was this basically mean like it was consuming the more memory. So when during the Rails application, so while it is need to be connected to the DB, so on the time it limited the memory and it crossed over. So it thrown an error and the pods are like stopped. So here I went to check up the kubectl logs and the pod name. So here I got know that the error, like the pod was killed here. So then I went to fix up this with like I just verified that I verified and the confirmation that with describing that pod. So kubectl described that pod name. So after this, I'm going to check that kubectl top and the pod name. So from this I will get know the exact memory of that pod. So how much it consumed and like what are the ways I can go for. So I
It's
can fix.
already in a crash loop backup error. Okay. So my question is very simple. What actions you are going to take? Your container is
Yeah,
crash
I
loop
will
backup
just
error
adjust
due
the
to
resource.
OMM kit.
So I will just adjust the resource request and the limits in the deployment YAML file. So here I will make sure that I will write the resource request and the memory I will increase. So and the limit also I will write the memory whatever the required.
Yeah, may I tell for this? See, whenever that OM killed error will come, we check. As Sandeep said, if he already told that there is no memory issue. So directly, what we'll do, just we'll try to. We have in a command, right, to increase the parts like temporary purpose kubectl. That is in a command like. Replica set increased replica equal to 5. Whenever we increase the temporary that parts increase, then we'll analyze the for certain time. If that issue is resolved by increasing the parts, and then we go for the we go for the here HPA like horizontal part not for this HPA like horizontal part auto scaling we configure like to increase the load. We'll set minimum and maximum here to resolve this issue.
Yes. See, whatever Jairam said, that is correct. Like, so I already told you the crash loopback of error is happening for memory issue. No need to check anything. Like, okay, so now for temporary fix or immediate fix, I will increase the memory request and limit by using the command called kubectl set resource deployment name, and container is equal to container name hyphen limit is equal to memory and is equal to 1 GI and request is equal to 512 MI. Okay, so in this case, for temporarily, my container will up. Next, so for long term, I will use or I will optimize the application code to reduce memory usage and turn runtime config. So runtime config means everything I will not have in the code. So I will make use of separate configuration, and then I will add an HPA. So memory load could spread across multiple parts. I will configure HPA.
So we are not increasing the CPU and memory in the deployment file. We are
See, that's what, like in the command I'm setting, right? kubectl set resource means it will update in your YAML file.
Okay.
For temporary purpose.
Okay.
Okay, if the part goes down, again it will come up with whatever I defined in the deployment. It is for temporary. Okay. So suppose
said like we use a horizontal pod auto scaling. In that, based on the utilization of CPU, we do specify in a spec of the manifest file like average utilization is greater than certain percentage, like 80% or something. Then we have to increase the number of pods. If this utilization has been decreased to certain percentage, then we'll decrease the number of pods.
yes. That is what I like. Yeah, that is for long term. That's what I explained, right? You need to include HPA, and also you need to, like, if you want to configure Grafana, and also I also set up Grafana alerts to detect high memory usage before pod crashes. That also you can include. Okay. If they ask you if they intentionally ask you OMM killed due to crash loopback of error, then you can tell them for immediate fix I will increase the memory by using the command called kubectl resource. Then it will increase and my pod will be stable. For longer term, what I will do, I will optimize the application code to reduce the memory size or memory usage. Then I will add an HPA so that if the CPU or memory increases, so my pod will be auto scale. Okay, and also in the future, like I will also configure Grafana alerts to detect high memory usage, which parts is using high memory, because sometimes some unnecessary processes are consuming the more memory, right? With actual process, rather than consuming the actual process, some intermediate process will consume some time, so that may cause your pod crash. Okay. So for temporary purpose, we need to check. Then you need to check after that. So why it is going high? So at what time it is going high? You can check it out later. Okay.
Yeah, understood.
Okay. Okay. Same thing in a Docker only. Lagarity.
Yes, Sandeep.
So you are trying to run a container. Okay. You are not able to run. So what actions you will take?
A container, basically, I do check whether the I pulling images like proper Docker register or not. I do configure the if it is private, I do configure credentials. Even if I sometimes I may miss invalid image name, so even I do check whether the image is exist or not, is expired or not, because if it is sometimes the previous version will be expired, so I do go for latest version. So my friend, so yeah, I do check first image name invalid or not, then I do check the state like latest version is there or not. I do check the versions. When I do check if I basically pulling image from the private registry, so I do pass a proper credentials like username and passwords.
Okay, Saga.
Yeah, so the first thing I will check the container status, Docker ps-a. So here it will show all the containers which is like exited immediately. So later I will inspect logs, like if I get exited, so then I can check the Docker logs and that container ID. So it will show the logs. So then I will check the exist code. So even like if I missed something, so then I can check the Docker inspect and the container ID. So here I can inspect that code. So if I wanted to move into the container, so then I will check through the Docker run -t. So that container ID, like I will, if that entry point, I will mention here the entry point, so that I will know I can go into the Docker and I can debug that, like, oh, what is the error I can get. So why this is not running? So because we may miss the environment variables here. So it may mismatch here. So I will go inside the Docker and I will check that. So again, so by this way I can fix and I can run the Docker image.
Okay. So first you will check the logs, okay, to see the exact error. So then I will verify with the container status, like whether it is exited or so it will, if you do Docker ps-a, it will display. So why it is exited, or it will show you the status, right?
Yes.
So then if you need like run it in an interactive mode, Docker run -it entry, like there is a command, right? Docker image name to debug inside. And also make sure that image is available. That is the one point. Like, and also you need to check whether the CMD and the enter point is valid or not. Suppose you are running, you are writing a Docker image, either maybe you are misconfigured the CMD and the entry point. So that may causing your Docker is not running, Docker container. Okay. And also if the port is conflict, some port 8080 you are supposed to use, but some other process is already using that one. That may also causing your container to not spin up. Okay. So these are the things you need to concentrate. Okay. One by one you can tell, like logs. See, first one, anything if you are going with the troubleshooting, you need to check the logs. Okay. Okay. Okay, same question, like in a different way. Say you may resolve the issue, okay? Again, the container is starting and shutting down again after 10 seconds. So now, what you think that will, so what are the things you will check? You resolve the issue, but again it is causing the same error.
So I do check whether it is on the same day or not, so properly. So if it same day is the parameter, it executing the Docker image. So if it is not configured inside the Docker file as the same day, so my container will be start and it immediately exits.
So we can check the entry point, like CMD or entry point. We can run that so that we will know accurate. Like if it is passed, then it will exit after that running. So by this also we can check through the entry point or like CMD by running the Docker run -t. So then that where the path, like image name, like if you are giving the bin bash, so then we run this command. So we will move into that, moving into that, and we can check that.
We can log in for that particular container and check if there is any service causing this issue for the container crash.
Okay. So first we will check why check the logs to see why the main process is exiting. Okay. So this will usually because of the container doesn't have a long run because of your CMDR entry point is misconfigured. Okay. So that is the reason it is not running properly. It is exiting after 10 seconds. Okay. So same thing, like previous question is also same, this question is also same. Thoroughly we need to check. Because see, you are writing a Docker file, you are trying to running the container, then definitely the CMDR entry point is misconfigured. Okay. Okay. Okay, same thing in a Docker. So now the container is running. Okay. Now it is not able to access externally. So how we are going to check?
We can check the port. If the port is open for that particular EC2 machine, that which the container is getting used.
Host port is open or not, I will say.
Okay, next.
Basic like this, yeah, the port only, the open port. With the net stat, we can directly check it out.
So we can just run that like Docker run -p, then the port the number. So -p that 8080. If you are given 8080, then that image name 8080 and that 3000 that image name. So by this we can verify that is that the port number is right or wrong.
And we have to check the application that is written within the Docker image.
Yeah. So if
there is an issue with the image, then it will not able to access even if the port is correct.
So sometimes some applications like Rails, it will take by default take a local host. So it will give like the Rails server and the local host will be taken by default 3000. So on the time also we should check that that we didn't mismatch that port number.
Yeah, we need to check whether this particular port opened in security group or not. If it is 8080, we have to check whether it's open in security group or not.
Okay.
Cloud security group also. There also we should check if the even the port is mapped, but if you are missing firewall rules also, it may cause that may also we can check that.
Okay. Okay, the same question in a different way. So, there are two containers in your host. Okay, you give port number 3000 to both containers. Okay. Now, I want to connect to some external source, or I want to access from the external. So, what will happen? Can someone from outside access that container?
Nobody will be able to access because both the ports are will be getting crashed in between. So we have to use some kind of reverse proxy to use the different port in the front end.
Tell me what happens.
So no, the application will not run. We will not be able to access.
Which one will not run?
The first one will be able to run. The first one which is configured, and the second one will not be able to work.
So in this case, the first container will run, so which we are going to map it, and second one will be failed because the port already in use.
Okay.
Only the first container will be accessible externally on port 3000. Okay.
So
if you want to access both
Node.js, right? Node.js, right? It is Node.js application.
Yeah, Node.js application. I'm just asking in a general.
Okay.
I'm just in the interview they may ask you like this type of questions. If I want to run two containers, so what will happen? How it will go into redirect, whether it is working or not. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, while I was working, I got this error, the port number is already in use.
Okay. Okay. So come to Kubernetes. So when you create a pod, so will it have only IPR port?
So when a container is created, right?
Pod.
Pod. Okay. When a pod is created, it will only have the IP.
It will have IP and network ID.
If we define the port in the manifest file, then only it will get assigned with an IP with the port.
Okay, Niharika, can you tell me? So, what do you mean by pod? And when you are going to create a pod, so what will it have its own IP?
Yeah, actually, pod is like a container where we create our image from the local or the Docker registry. We specify the image in a container. Basically, we do have only one pod if replica set was not specified, and it assigns basically it assigns the IP whenever the pod is created.
Okay. What do you mean by pod?
Pod is like a container where we run our image.
Okay. Pod is a?
Pod is like a container deployment we do use in order to our
See, this is an object. So whatever the things you will write it in a kind, is those all are objects. Deployment, service account, okay, service, daemon set, stateful set, stateless set. These are all objects in Kubernetes. Okay. So pod is nothing but a simplest deployable object in Kubernetes. Okay. When you need a container to run a simple application, then I will go with the pod because pod doesn't have self-healing capacity.
Yes.
So every pod will have a unique IP address within a cluster. So pod can only have like we can run one or more containers. So however, if you are going to access the pod externally, we need to configure service for that. By default, we can't access the pod without a service. You need to answer like this, okay? So when you are going to ask you when you are going to create a pod and whether it will have IP address support, you need to explain all these things. You need to tell them like, oh, pod doesn't have a self-filling capacity. That is the major one.
Yes.
So
Basically, for that we go with deployment. If pod goes down, it cannot recreate. That's why it is self-healing.
yes.
When they ask about pod, then we have to tell only about the pod, right? Like pod is in a like small distribution unit. It's having its own IP address and own network ID, and pod is like it contain like one. It contains one or more containers, which like uses for the same applications like front and back end containers. We can use like that. So here we should not tell more like deployment and replica set and all. If they ask only part, we have to tell only the part, and we can elaborate even the deployment.
Yeah, you can just elaborate why we are not going to use pod for longer applications. We can for just for testing purpose we can use pod, so it doesn't have a self-filling capacity. Then that's why we are going with the deployment object. Okay. Okay, so
Yes.
okay. So can we create a multiple containers inside a pod? So if it is yes, so what may be the limitations? And when you are going to use multiple containers inside a pod?
So if like we can use a single container and we can use if any other container requires, then we are using a sidecar container for logs purpose. But I'm not sure with a single deployment we can use multiple containers.
Okay. Tagar?
We can create a multiple resources like when the for example, like if we are creating the name we're creating the network namespace for the like same IP and that local host communication. So on the time we can create a multiple inside that namespace, and like for the storage volumes also we can create. And for like if we have the same life cycle policies like which is like dependence of scheduling or like starting that or like which is of like dependent. So on the time also we can use this like we can create. So the limitations is like I can tell like so
No, he
limit,
asked about part, right? You are telling about namespace and all. He asked in the part
Yeah,
or
the
can you?
answer is correct. Yeah. Then it will consume the namespace if you are going to run multiple containers in the same pod.
yeah, that's why we create the we can
Because
create
we
it
don't
only
have
the
isolation between the two containers. If you
two
are running
containers.
two containers in the same spot.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
the
go with the limitations.
limitations is like we can have only the single scheduling unit here. So if one container crashes, so then that pod will be restarted completely. So this can be also the limitation.
Yeah, one is correct. Next.
It can useful only in the smaller process. Mean not for related the applications which is of maximum, which is like if it contains the database, so on the time it will be not secure for this. This is also like this can be a limitation for this.
So one thing is all containers in a pod are scheduled together on the same node. So it will consume your more memory. That is the one part. Okay.
Yes.
Because both the containers are scheduled in one node because it will Kubernetes will think like it is a pod. It will not consider your containers. In a pod, we are running 2 or 3 containers. But Kubernetes, what it will do? It will schedule a pod. Inside, we are running 3 containers that may be overload to your worker node. And second point is they cannot be scaled independently because scaling is
Replicas.
at pod level. So we can't scale containers separately. Okay. If I want to scale container, we can't do it. If I want to scale pod again, it will consume more memory, right? So that's why we will go with single container in a single pod. Okay, that is the recommended one.
And even if we have mentioned any limitations for the namespaces, like the consumption of CPU and the memory, it will consume more. Even if the node has high storage or memory, if we have limited the resource usage for the namespace, then if we deploy the same pod for that particular namespace, the pod may not work accurately.
Okay.
I wanted to add this. So.
Okay. Jairam.
Yes, sir.
Okay, suppose inside a pod, so we have multiple containers. So will they have same or different ports?
It should be of same code only because in the part it will be support only for the same application, right? We can't use in the part for in the like different applications we can't use in the same part, so it will be the same port.
No, they will use different ports because in the manifest file for every image we can define different ports, right? So it can use different ports.
Yeah, but in the part we can't use different images, right? In the like see in the one part we can use only if it is Jenkins applications. We used to related to Jenkins application container only we used to run. We can't run with other images in the same part, right?
No. What I meant to say, if we define 2 containers in one pod, we can mention the port numbers, right, in the manifest file for 2 different images.
That I'm not sure because okay, I'm not
No,
sure.
because every image
As I thought in the same part like we run the different containers, but the containers which are related to the same applications.
maybe
So in the
whatever we
first
written from the beginning, maybe we have included only one container, but if we define 2, then the images will be, we will send the images in the form of list, right? So in the port information, we can provide different ports for both the images.
Okay, I'm not So then actually in the main, like in the part, like one is the main container and the other containers like which are the supporting containers to the main container.
Okay.
So coming to the port, I'm not sure.
See the port. See the if you are using multiple containers in a pod, so it will share same network, same namespace, same IP address, same storage volume. But the port is unique. See, when we are connecting, you are writing a service, right?
Not only service. What I meant to say is we defined the port in the manifest file too, right? We in the containers we pass the information as a list for the image names. So there we can define different ports for both of
Yeah,
them.
that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
If the container A, I want to expose like 8080, I can expose, and container B like 9090, I can expose.
Yeah.
Okay. From the pod level, I can open two ports. One is 80 and another one is 81. From 81, I will route traffic to container B. From 80, I am routing the traffic to container A, that is called 8080. So while running the service, you will mention what is the port name of your container and what is the port name of your pod. Correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
So in this way, the port will be not the same. It should be unique. But the same is network, namespace, IP address, and storage. Okay?
Yeah.
Understood?
Yeah.
Storage, yeah.
Okay. Suppose in a Docker, okay?
Mhm.
Yeah, Nagarity.
Yeah, Sandeep.
Yeah, suppose I want to save credentials inside a Docker file. So how you will manage?
Basically we don't hard coded any credentials in the Docker file. For that we can go for variables. So instead of that, I have to create a variable. So I do pass
How
dynamic.
you are going to define a variable? Is that working in Docker file?
Yeah, we need to. It is working in Docker file because we have to passing a dynamic variables. It is working in Docker file because we're not able to hard coded any credentials like our password or API keys. So instead of that, I have to make sure I write a variables like a dynamic variables to keep on rotating my credentials.
My question is, how you are going to handle secrets in your Docker file?
Like for that actually
Means we use base 64 to enable hard code that one. That one you're asking.
Docker,
No,
I think
not
base,
that.
we can use Vault and AWS Secret Manager, and we can integrate with Docker, and we can use that.
How?
Passwords.
My question is how?
Like the password, whatever we want to use in the Docker.
Okay,
Like,
I kept it the secrets like username is equal to Sandeep, password is 123. Now I need to call it my Docker file. How?
configuration part, I think we have to configure.
No, actually, instead of like storing in the Docker file, actually we run through the using the environment variables only. Like for example, like if I am running the application, like my username, Postgres username, like DB user is like Sagar, and the password is secret123. So then I will give that my application name of that. So on the time by this way also we can pass our runtime environment variables. But we don't put it this in the Docker image.
Okay. So what I will do, I will use while writing a Docker file, I will use ARG. Okay. ARG is an argument. Okay. So whenever you are reading a variable from Secret Manager, so in your pipeline it will be available as variables. Okay. Then I will put same variables into ARG. Let me show you like one example. You will understand. One second.
environment variables అంటే ఆక్సిజన్
You were able to see my screen, right?
Yes.
ఎందుకు మిడిల్లో
See, these are all variables, okay? Did I hard coded anything here? No, just
No.
calling the variables. Okay. So these are the arguments it will be available for your runtime. So I need to keep these variables while running our container. So that's why I'm just keeping like environment is equal to next API headers and just reading the variables from the pipeline. So suppose you are keeping it in keyword. Okay, so when you keep the keyword and you make a connection between your keyword and your Jenkins, so those variables will be available as those values will be available as variables. So what I'm doing, I'm just calling the variables. Okay, so my pipeline will read variables from the keyword, so it will make it as available in entire pipeline. I'm just using this one. Okay, so by using EARG and ENV, we are going to define, and we will not put any secrets in the Docker file. We will call it through Azure Secret Manager. AWS Secret Manager. Okay.
ENV is we have to give the value here, and
yeah,
what is the
because
difference?
this is a runtime only. These
Okay.
values should be available even for after building the Docker container.
Okay.
So that's why I'm using both.
My question here is, if we use argument, and do we have to enter the values manually while the pipeline is?
No. It will take it. Like I'm just telling that you can use it in the image while running. Take these the values of these environment variables.
Where are these values defined?
Yeah, these are in keyword.
Okay. Which keyword? Azure keyword.
Azure keyword. ಅದು CI/CD ಇಂಟಿಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀನಿ
ನಾನು ನನ್ನ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಸೇಮ್ ಇದೇ ತರ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೆ, ಬಟ್ ನನ್ನ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ನು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದ ಅಂತ. That is the one.
Pipeline. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನೋಡಿ, succeed ERN ಡೆಪ್ಲಾಯ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಡೆಪ್ಲಾಯ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಕೀವರ್ಡ್. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಟಾಸ್ಕ್, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ನೇಮ್. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಐ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ವೈಲ್ ರನ್ನಿಂಗ್ ದ ಯುವರ್ ಪೈಪ್ಲೈನ್. You think it like in Jenkins, it's a stage. Okay. So I'm just calling the service connection. Like it should connect your Azure DevOps should be connect to your keyword. So it will retrieve the data from the keyword. So I'm just specifying the subscription and keyword name. So what are the secrets we need to download? So because in one keyword, so we are keeping like almost 100 types of secrets. One is for DB, one is for front end, one is for back end, another some many secrets they are going to manage. Okay, so in that, what are the secrets I need to read? See, these are very case sensitive. If you put small p, it is not going to read it from the keyword. You need to specify the exact name what you are specifying in the keyword. Same name I am going to use. So then it will retrieve the data. Okay, so it will be available. No need to again after downloading you need to copy into the variable. It will available as a variable entire your pipeline. Okay, so I'm reading it from here. Here I'm just replacing it. Okay, because if you see here I have written a manifest file for
ಈ ಪೈಪ್ಲೈನಿಗೆ ಕ್ಲೌಡ್ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಬೇಕಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಅಜ್ಯೂರ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಅದ್ರೊಳಗಡೆ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸೀಕ್ರೆಟ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ?
ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ.
ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಇವಾಗ ನಾವು ಅಜ್ಯೂರ್ ಡೆವಾಪ್ಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಪೈಪ್ಲೈನ್ ರನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಜ್ಯೂರ್ ಕ್ಲೌಡ್ಗೆ ಇದು ಕ್ರೆಡೆನ್ಶಿಯಲ್ಸ್ ಏನ್ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದೆ. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಕೀ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಬೇಕಾ? ಓಕೆ,
ಹೆಂಗ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಯಾವ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ?
ಹಾ, ಓಕೆ, ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ.
ಯಾವ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯು ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫೈ. ಲೈಕ್ ಸಪೋಸ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ಕಂಪನಿ ಲೈಕ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ 10 accounts, which account that Azure DevOps should use? Okay. Right? So that purpose, so what we will define is in the service connection you may go with two different types. One is Azure resource and another one is service principal. Service principal is nothing but when you create an IAM role you will get an ARN number, right?
Yeah.
Same way for SP is like a one what you call universal permission. Okay, so if you attach that SP to any resources in Azure, so if you provide sufficient permission to that SP, then we can able to access. See, ಇವಾಗ ಪ್ರತಿ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀನಿ ನಾನು. Okay, same policy if I want to attach, so that user will also get the same permissions, correct? So every time ನಾನು ಪ್ರತಿ ಈಗ ನನಗೊಬ್ಬನ್ ಕೇಳಿದ, someone is asking me to give the permission. Okay, for him I given the permission. Again, if some other project asking the same resource for the same permission, what I need to do? Again, everything for everyone I need to configure. So that's why in Azure what we are doing is like we are using service principal. We will attach the service principal to that particular resource and will give sufficient permission. Then that service connection is able to do whatever the permission we provided.
Okay.
So ನನಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರೀಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. I am creating a config map through CI/CD. Okay, reading the secrets from keyword and just I am creating a config map and I am just applying to Kubernetes cluster. Then I am running. See, that's why before if I run this deployment before creating the config map, my container will never start. That's why first I will create a config map, then I will go with the deployment, then I will go with the service and HPA. Understood?
Yeah.
So please go through this ARG and ENV. Okay.
ಸರ್, ಓಕೆ. ಬಟ್ ನಾವು ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂ ಅಲ್ಲಿ AWS ಮೆನ್ಷನ್, ಅದು Azure ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಜಸ್ಟ್ AWS ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
You can mention like AWS secret manager. Azure keyword secret manager, both are same.
ಓಕೆ. ಬಟ್ ನಾವು Azure ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಿರೋದು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ Azure ಮತ್ತೆ ಒಂದು ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಕೇಳಬಾರ್ದು. ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ you can go ahead and answer. If you are not properly, you are not confident at level, then forget about keyword. You can mention like AWS secret manager.
ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಕೇಳಿದ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ಸಿವಿ ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅಂತ.
So take an assignment, don't do anything, create a pipeline. Okay, what you will do, just create a username is equal to 1 2 3 or something. You can put whatever name you want, you can put it in Azure secret manager, integrate your Azure secret, AWS secret manager to Jenkins, read the variables and print it in your console for your understanding purpose. So how it works? ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ? See, at least you will get some idea. So in the interview you can able to answer this. ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ, ಈಗ ಒಂದು ನೇಮ್ ಇಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರು ಕೊಡಿ, ಪಾಸ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು 1 2 3 4 5 ಕೊಡಿ. ಈ ಎರಡೇ ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್ ನ ಕೀವರ್ಡ್ ಸೀಕ್ರೆಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜರ್ ಇಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಜೆಂಕಿನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಒಂದು ಫೈಲ್ ಬರ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಎಕೋ ಪ್ರಿಂಟ್ ಯೂಸರ್ ನೇಮ್, ಎಕೋ ಪ್ರಿಂಟ್ ಪಾಸ್ವರ್ಡ್. ಓಕೆ, ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಿಲ್ವಾ?
Yes, sir. Like you want us to read those username and password.
Yeah, just read the variables. That's it.
Yeah.
One ನಿಮಿಷ. ಸೊ ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಿವಿಯಸ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಏನಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಏನ್ ಕೇಳಿದೆ?
That secret calling in Docker file, like argument we are calling that one.
Oh, okay.
And this Azure Vault is inbuilt in Azure.
Not inbuilt.
So
it's
we
a
are.
feature.
Yeah,
see, it is in a cloud. It is not in your what you call. Not by default, it will not come. Okay, so it will be in a cloud. It's like a AWS only. Azure DevOps is nothing but a Jenkins. Okay.
Yeah, but in AWS we have inbuilt like a secret manager. We are calling from the AWS secret manager, right? So like that.
See, Azure what is one of the service in Azure.
Okay.
Same like AWS.
We can use this Vault for AWS also if we are install and do.
See, in Jenkins, whatever you want, you can do it. Like we can install plugin, we can communicate with any other resource. In Azure DevOps, we can't integrate with the AKS or not AKS, EKS. It is very difficult. I never configured, but it is also not showing any options. If we are going with service account, definitely we can integrate with Azure DevOps with your EKS. Okay. So forget about Key Vault and all those things. First, you can concentrate on Azure Secret Manager. From there, we are going to read the secrets. Okay. So yesterday I given one task like go through Azure DevOps. Anyone done or anyone created the account in Azure DevOps?
Yes, I have created, but since we are using AWS, trying to understand is Azure. I just created S3 object and load balancer and EC like virtual machines only, but very difficult to understand what is that. So whenever we are creating EC2 instances only, it is asking all the things like CPU and load balancer, wave, everything we can use. More features are there.
Azure Cloud you are asking?
Yes, Azure Cloud.
Azure DevOps. Azure DevOps.
But in free trials, Azure DevOps is not eligible, it is telling.
Okay.
Yes, sir. It's costing. It's not comes under free tier Azure DevOps.
First you pay, then you can start, it is telling.
Let's see, like Sandeep have, I think, Azure DevOps. Like if he has that account, so I will share with one of you. Like you can both in a group you can practice. Okay. One or two members we will share, so we can practice at least for one project.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay. So. Sujan. Okay, Niharika.
Yes.
So in Kubernetes, if the master node is down, okay, your master plane is down. So the worker node will work or not work.
Master node is basically responsible to give tasks or schedule the pods to the worker nodes. So without the master node, we won't be able to do anything. Like we do have in master node like API server, which is responsible for the communication between the control plane and the worker node. And when it comes to scheduler, we do have it in master node itself, where it is responsible for scheduling certain pods on the certain nodes. And even if we want our configuration to be saved as a backup, we have HCD that is also present in master node. So it's not possible.
Okay, so whatever the existing workloads will work or not?
Without master node, it won't work, I think so.
Is it? Yes, Siddhesh.
Yes, sir. If the worker node keeps running the existing pods.
Why?
Because the equivalent on each worker continue to talk to container runtime. So it will keep the workforce alive.
No. Rohit?
Can you repeat that? Can you repeat the question once?
Okay, so suppose your master node goes down. So will the worker nodes will be affect?
Yeah.
So if it is affect, what are the things will it affect? Will existing pods will run or not? So what are the things it will happen? Tell me.
The HCD server will be gone, right? So the cluster will be completely gone. Even if the node server is healthy, if the control plane goes down, then the application will completely go down. We have to create a new cluster because the master itself manage the nodes, how it has to run, and it had to report back to the master, right? So the Kubernetes will go down. We have to take a backup. Like if we use AWS, then we have AWS backup service for the case. We have to create a new master node. Then with the backup of the.
Talking about what we are doing next thing, like next process. I'm just asking, like if it is master node is down, so what are the things will affect and what are the things will run? So what will be not taken care by the worker nodes? Those points you can include.
Okay, the applications will go down. The nodes cannot report back to the master, so the application that has been deployed in the nodes will not be able to work.
Okay. The answer is wrong.
Sir, worker nodes will still run existing pods because the kubelet and the container runtime continue working.
Means if it is down, the pods will be running, but it won't recreate. Or if we are updating auto scaling or replica set we mentioned, it won't recreate. But already running, it will be still running only.
And the replica set, like whenever the pod goes down, and it will not create the new pod.
Yes, means restart or create new will not work.
Next.
And data, like whenever we fetch for the any data, like so due to that the control plan is down, so we didn't get any data related to that database whenever we use kubectl. Yeah, your API server is not available, and the volume whenever like if you want to attach the like the define volume to the parts, so this is also will not support.
Who will answer properly?
Yeah, Sandeep. See, if the master nodes goes down, so the worker nodes will be keep running in the existing pods. So, but here the no new pods will be scheduled, or like in the cluster management will be stopped here only. So to resolve this, like we will restart the control plane services, or like we replace the master node if it has failed. So in the production level, we avoid this by running the or like we creating the multiple master nodes. So in the high availability mode, so we can we can use the load balancer here also, or we can deploy in the multiple master nodes. So by this we can prevent this.
Okay. So in this point, you need to explain. So what are the components which will run in your master first part? So, I mean, apart from asking like explain me the Kubernetes architecture, they may ask you in this way. They need to know so what components will be run in the master, what components will run in the worker. Okay. So in this case, you need to explain like what are the components it will run: API server, scheduler, control manager, etcd. API server, what it will do? It will handle the commands and communicate with your container, correct? Or your worker nodes. So scheduler will assign a new path to worker nodes. Control manager, what it will do? It will always maintain the desired state. etcd will store like cluster configuration and what is the state of your cluster. So what are the things will affect if your worker node goes down means existing pods will keep on running normally because worker nodes doesn't need the master to continue the executing the loads. Your application will not come down immediately. Okay, scheduling the new pods is not possible because scheduler is on the master node is down. So worker node is not able to communicate with your master. So where should this new pod should be scheduled? So next, cluster management. We can't do any deployment, creating a new pods or any making the changes or service. We can't do anything like this. Okay. Even though if the pod fails, it is not going to create a new pod. Why?
Even though if the pod fails?
Due to your controller, their control manager is not available, right?
Yes. You got my question?
Yeah.
So
Now,
like asking like the Kubernetes architecture, they may ask you like this.
okay.
To know how strong in your how strong you are in the Kubernetes.
Okay,
So today I asked you only the general, very basic questions only, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
The troubleshooting and yeah, it was good.
Same question. Okay. So like the question may be in a different way. Like they may ask you like, have you faced any kube proxy failure in your EKS?
Yes.
Okay, tell me what you mean by kube proxy will do.
Kube proxies will maintain the network.
It will handle the networking.
Like each container, like part communications and part to service communications, kube-proxy will help.
Yeah, it's basically responsible for our load balancing and the networking component because it's a networking component in our Kubernetes cluster. So it basically manages our IP tables. So and it's basically route the traffic and it's also manage the load balancing and route traffic from services to our IP pod IPs.
So if kube proxy fails, like DNS lookups may get that connection services will be failed here. So even that if you have like external load balancer also, it may not forward that traffic to the nodes. But like in the like if you are using like the Q proxy, so on these nodes like cannot
Hello.
Yes,
You
sir.
got my point, right? So
Yeah.
when you do, so why we are again and again we are applying these means, if there is a changes, then it's going to configure. If it is no changes, then Kubernetes will not going to configure. So you see, right, if you are going to apply same deployment file, it will show that there is no change. If you are going to deploy same image again and again, it is not going to configure. It has a Kubernetes cache.